All right, let's talk about something that gets romanticized and honestly really confused all the time. What love is actually supposed to feel like. We're going to challenge this popular idea that chaos and real chemistry are the same thing.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. We all know that phrase, right? Getting butterflies in your stomach. That fluttery, exciting feeling. But what if they aren't butterflies? What if what you're feeling is something else entirely?
And it doesn't stop there. You know that heart-pounding feeling when they call, or that pit in your stomach when they don't text back? The endless cycle of replaying every little interaction in your head. We've been taught to call all that intensity passion.
But here's the big question. What if it's not passion? What if it's just stress? What if that racing heart and that churning stomach are actually your body's alarm system trying to tell you something you don't want to hear? That you're not excited, you're actually in fight or flight mode.
And this really gets to the heart of it. Love isn't supposed to feel like a battlefield you have to constantly fight on. It should feel like a safe place to land. It shouldn't be a struggle you have to survive. It should be the place you go to feel secure.
So how did we get this so backward? Let's break down this whole myth of passionate chaos that our culture just seems to be obsessed with and see where it all comes from.
And I mean, think about it. Where do we learn this stuff? Movies, songs, social media. It's everywhere. We're shown that true love has these huge dramatic arguments, that it's a constant cycle of breaking up and getting back together. Even jealousy gets painted as this proof that someone really, really cares. It's all sold to us as this wild, emotional roller coaster, and that's supposed to be the sign of a real connection. Now this is where it gets super clear. Let's separate these two feelings. Excitement, that feels joyful, it's energizing, it lifts you up. Anxiety, on the other hand, is completely draining. It feels like you're constantly bracing for impact, just waiting for the next bad thing to happen. One makes your world bigger, the other makes it so much smaller.
And here's the tricky part. This constant stress is a master of disguise. We actually find ways to rationalize it, to tell ourselves stories that make it sound like a normal or even a desirable part of being in love. And we have a whole vocabulary to justify it, don't we? Things like, oh, I just care so much, or we're just a really passionate couple, or the classic, every couple fights like this. And maybe the biggest one of all, well, relationships are hard work. But listen, while they do take effort, healthy effort is not the same thing as constant emotional exhaustion.
And that's the difference, right there. Healthy effort feels like you're building something together. Emotional labor overload? That's not building, that's just survival. It's that feeling of walking on eggshells, being too scared to bring things up, and feeling like you're the only one responsible for keeping the peace. That isn't a partnership.
Okay, so let's make this even more real. We're going to look at a couple of side-by-side scenarios that show the difference between a supportive relationship and a stressful one in a way that's impossible to ignore.
Okay, pay close attention to this because the difference is night and day. On the supportive side, your partner listens to understand. They validate you. They're just there. Now look at the stressful side. Your feelings are dismissed, you're too sensitive, you're accused of starting drama, and worst of all, you can actually end up apologizing just for having feelings in the first place.
So, here's the bottom line. One dynamic helps you carry your burdens. The other, it's emotional deflection. They don't just add to your weight, they make you feel guilty for even having it. And over time, that just teaches you to stop sharing, to stay silent.
So, this begs the big question, right? If it feels so bad, why do people stay? Why can this chaos sometimes feel, well, normal?
A lot of the time, the answer is because it feels familiar. If you grew up in a home with a lot of emotional unpredictability or where love and affection felt conditional, then a chaotic relationship as an adult can feel strangely like home. It might not be a comfortable home, but it's the one you know.
And this is a reframe that is so powerful. For someone who is used to chaos, a calm, stable relationship can feel boring at first. But we need to get this into our heads. Calm isn't the absence of passion. Calm is the presence of safety. It's healthy. It's the goal.
So if that's what we're trying to avoid, what are we moving toward? What does healthy, supportive love actually feel like in the day-to-day?
Well, it really all boils down to emotional safety, and that stands on three huge pillars. Number one, you can disagree without being afraid the world will end. Two, you can be truly vulnerable without being mocked for it. And three, you can say what you need without being called needy or difficult.
And when you have that safety, you start to see these quiet, everyday signs of a healthy love. It's not about the grand, flashy gestures. It's about feeling secure even when you're apart. It's knowing that a disagreement is just that, a disagreement, not a threat to your entire future. It's a love that makes you feel like you're expanding, not shrinking to fit.
So, as we bring this all home, let's focus on what a partner is fundamentally for. I mean, the world outside is already chaotic enough, right?
This right here should be your non-negotiable bottom line. A relationship should never be a tax on your mental health. It shouldn't steal your confidence, it shouldn't keep you up at night with anxiety, and it should never, ever force you to become a smaller version of yourself just to keep things calm.
So I want to leave you with a question to ask yourself, and be really honest. When you zoom out and look at the whole picture, does this relationship, this person, add peace and support and joy to your life? Or does it subtract those things?
And please, let this be the final takeaway. You deserve a love that feels like coming home. A love that feels like a shelter from the storm, not the storm itself. You deserve a love that feels like peace,